President Bola Tinubu has approved $20,000 foreign medical treatment, bulletproof, SUVs, and cooks, among other benefits, as a retirement package for service chiefs and generals. Barrister, I don't get it. These service chiefs have been thieves and rogues stealing our money. They have amassed, they are still amassing stupendous wealth. I can consider them to be, not even consider, that's the reality. They are billionaires. At the end of the day, when they retire, even more money will be, more Nigeria's resources will be assigned to them. For God's sake, 20 billion medical bills. These are why do you have to actually take care of people like this that are already well fed, that have already and are still feeding fat of the system? This money is nothing to them at the point of retirement. After they are retired. Yet they still, I don't get it. Okay, I understand why we have said it all. That Tinubu, this is part of bribery. They've decided to bribe. That's why I have said it earlier that I've never heard EFCC, not even an iota of rumor, that EFCC has probed or is probing or investigating any military officer for financial misconduct. And under Tinubu, it's even worse. Of course, you don't even bring that. There was a time where a senator brought up an issue that had to, in fact, I was even surprised he was that courageous. I've forgotten which senator did that. He was that courageous to bring up that issue of budgetary allocation to. He questioned it actually, that the military they are not giving account of what the budget has assigned to them. The budget financial implementation assigned to them. So that is just the point. Since then, I didn't hear anything again. They obviously, probably behind the scene, they threatened him. So, Barrister, obviously, this is a bribe. These people keep bribing. These politicians keep bribing the military to avert military coup. Or what do you think?
Yes. As a matter of fact, what is involved in that package is more than what you read out. I first read of this thing last year when the proposal was made as conditions of service for retired military officers from at the level of generals. There are many components that are not mentioned now, but which are part of including foreign trips for them, foreign medical treatment for them. So the ones you just mentioned are only part of it. That is not all what has been approved for them. When I read it, I think sometimes last year, about middle of last year precisely, when the news was out, I was like, well, this thing, what is the justification for this jumbo and mega conditions of service? Now it has received the presidential approval. Well, for politics in Nigeria, the exigency of the situation, if you put yourself in the president's position, maybe you can understand where he's going to. Because there is so much anger in the land that you do not want to have a little bit of anger in the military to combine with the anger of the civilian people. That would be very dangerous for the body politic, for the survival of the government. You do not want to do anything that will anger the military or service the people that control the military. On the other hand, you want to do everything to keep them in line, to keep them happy, and to keep them restive. So from the president's perspective, one can understand why this kind of jumbo conditions of pay is going on. But when you look at the economy and the sheer number of generals that the Nigerian army has, those who are being retired constantly, in a year we have maybe 3 or 4 times that they retire generals in Nigeria. So we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of generals that have already retired that are waiting for retirement. So when you look at this kind of payment, you weep. You actually weep for the economy. Honestly. We are here talking of the suffering of the masses in all ramifications that you can talk of. The highest they do is, okay, give them 70,000 minimum wage, which is equivalent to
$50.
Less than half a dollar.
$50.
I mean, less than half of $100.
Yeah, about $50.
Like around $50.
It's not even up to.
You expect a family, a man and a family in an African setting where we have 5 to 6 children to live on $50 in a month, for God's sake. Then you now say, oh, government cannot pay you more than that. And then you go and begin to give jumbo pay.
Honestly.
To these people.
Politicians and the military officers.
Are already materially comfortable.
Honestly, that's what I said earlier.
Any way you can look at it, a general today in the Nigerian Army is already materially comfortable.
Yeah.
So you come down to the fact that the only reason is that you want to keep them at bay. You want to keep them comfortable so that you will not have any challenge to the government, any challenge to your power.
Barrister,
so it comes down to a sort of blackmail.
Yeah, this brings me to this question. Now, the truth, sorry to cut you short because we are taking too long on this, spending too much time on this. Now, the truth is, obviously, based on what you have just said, Tinubu is just taking us for granted because he's keen to be afraid of the military more than the general public, the common man on the street. Of course, because he knows our mentality. Okay, the military, they have guns. Okay, I understand why he's more afraid of them. They have guns and they can do that, sort of, as against the common man on the street who does not have a gun, who is not armed. So do you think he's actually taking us for granted, the masses? Because obviously he is taking care of the military. The threat he feels, the people, the people he feels, the set of human beings, people he feels that are a threat to him. While he's not taking care of someone, of course, he's not taking care of us. We, the common man on the street, not taking care of us. He's not taking care of us because I'm not saying he should begin to dash us money, but at least through the policies, we have seen that the policies he's enacting since he assumed power as the president has been anti-people. It's been inimical and detrimental to the interests of the common man on the street. So obviously, since he's taking care of the military and he's not taking care of because he's afraid of them, he doesn't care about the masses because he's not afraid of them. Will you consider that as taking us for granted, Barrister?
I wouldn't put it that way. I would put it as being pragmatic. You look at it from the point of view of two threats to your power and to your governance, from the populace and from the army. So you think that, okay, it's easier to deal with the threat from the populace than to deal with the threat from the military. So let me sort out this one first. So you can see the pragmatism. You can see the pragmatism from the approach. You have two enemies or two threats coming to you from the military and from the populace. which one is easier to deal with? Of course, the populace is easier to deal with them. But the military, apart from the fact that they hold guns, they are a more closely knit unit than the general populace. It's easier to divide the populace than to divide the army along any lines. Because of their training, their obedience to orders, they are a greater threat to any government than the civilian population. So you now say, okay, let me direct my attention to this group that threaten me more than the other group. So I'm just looking at it from a pragmatic point of view. The reason I'm putting myself in his position, look, let me deal with this threat first. Let me calm this side down.
But sorry to cut you short again.
Reasonably.
Barrister, don't you think that is foolish of him? Because while the military, the worst case scenario, if they take over, all they do is just probably unseat you and place you under house arrest. As against the populace, when a revolt takes place, when a revolution takes place, it causes far greater damage, either to the system and to the entire populace, far more than what the military can actually do. Because nobody wants to see a revolution. We don't pray for it, even though it's becoming more and more becoming inevitable, becoming more and more becoming a necessary evil that we pray for it to come. Because if it doesn't happen, excuse me, in the next few years, Nigeria will become irredeemable. And that is actually my fear, that we don't get to that point where Nigeria, that our current situation becomes endemic or irredeemable. So the reality is, I don't know, because if I were in his shoes, just like you put yourself in his shoes and you're being pragmatic, I am putting myself in his shoes, because if I were in his shoes, I would be smart enough to understand that the people's revolution is usually more deadly, more dangerous than the military revolution. Everybody knows that. Because just like you noted, the military are more organized, but the populace, the general public, when they revolt, there is no control. It goes out of control. It goes out of control, and it will affect everybody, including you and I. It will affect everybody. That's the point.
Yes, what you say is correct, but you also have to recognize that you are doing an analysis. So the military and the populace. And while you recognize that the seeds for revolution are already on ground, they have already been planted, you also realize that the actualization of revolution is not imminent. It's not imminent. It's one thing for the seeds to be there, and it's one thing for the actual revolution to be imminent in the foreseeable future. Imminent in the sense of 5 years, 10 years, or even more. You look at it and you can conclude that, and there's reason for that it is not imminent.
So I disagree with you, Barrister.
No, let me, if that is your view.
Yes.
I am here, I'm telling you that one can sit down and do the assessment. And apparently he has people advising him. He has security reports from around the country constantly coming to him. And he also understands the nature of the average Nigerian. And he has come to the conclusion that a revolution is not very imminent in Nigeria. It may be there, the seeds are there, but it's not that imminent. And that the threat from this group is more imminent than the revolution. So he decides to, I may be wrong, but I believe in his calculation, that is what they have. And if you arrive at that conclusion, there's basis for it as well. So it's a difficult thing to say or come to the conclusion that you have a revolution 2-3 years now.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I agree with you to an extent. But why I disagreed with you is because you know much about revolution than myself, because you have expanded on that in the past. And we have had personal one-on-one discussion. Remember when I was in your office some years ago, we've talked about this revolution of a thing. Some of these revolutions, uh, you, you don't see them coming. Even the one that happened, like this, some of these, like the one that happened in the recent time, like this Tunisia, this Arab Spring. You remember Arab Spring? During this
Of
Arab
course.
Spring, what happened during this Arab Spring was nobody saw it coming. So mostly revolutions are not foreseen. Revolutions you don't see it coming. It just because anything that is spontaneous and organic, you don't see, nobody sees it coming. So that is my point. That's why I disagree with you. But I understand your own position, why you said what you said. But the reality is, revolution, if I were again, just like you put yourself in his shoes, if I were in Tinubu's shoes, honestly, this would be the way I think. I would rather take care of both. You can take care of both sides. You can take care of okay, let me placing myself in his shoes. I would rather take care of both sides. Take care of the populace, take care of the military. That is just it, but not to take care of one because you know they have guns and they can come to you personally. Because this one is about selfishness. Because the military, they will come for him personally. They'll come for his head. They would, of course, they won't kill him. We've not had any military. Or the worst case scenario, they'll place him under house arrest. That's just it. So this is being personal. He's just scared about his personal. He's just afraid about his personal interest, as against a national interest. Because revolution will not target one person. Revolution will target everybody. It will be a random thing. And it may even affect you and I that are talking about it now. So that is the point. So I don't, my fear is these people don't get it. And if you follow the revolution in the past that have taken place in other climes, you will understand that honestly the establishment and the powers that be, they always take the population or the populace for granted. And that's exactly what Tinubu's government is doing right now. They are taking us for granted. As I said, they will not see it coming. They will not. They will not see it coming. It will happen naturally and organically. And that is just the reality. Barrister, you can have the last take here.
Yes, we still come back to the same thing as somebody analyzing a situation and deciding which side to tackle first. It still comes back to that. A people's revolution, no matter how violent it is, we apparently give a powerful person leeway to even escape before danger comes to him.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing again.
But on the other hand, the military own is a different ball game, because they sit and plan and target you as a person. So it is more dangerous from the perspective of personal safety, personal and family safety, than a revolution. If you are very rich, you have your aircraft, you have your people everywhere. For a civil revolution, you can get headwind of it, and you can escape, you can fly out. But it's more difficult from a military point of view. Targeting you is more dangerous. So it comes down to, I sit down, I assess the situation. I say, okay, this threat is more dangerous to me. It's more personal to me. It's more imminent. Let me sort it out first before I turn to the other one, if I ever do that. So I think it is the calculation that will lead to bogus payment, because some of these things, Do you know that they are supposed to have one of the jeeps that is promised them is supposed to be bulletproof armored,
Yes, I read that too.
and they are to be replaced every 3 to 4 years.
Wow.
I told you I read the whole list of largesses. You and your family are to be treated abroad when you are sick. Your vehicles are to be replaced every 3 years. Your pension is to be reviewed every now and then. Your cooks, your drivers, everything is to be paid for
All
by
right,
government.
barrister.
So you see, these things, all the other arms of government will just open their mouth wide and wish they were in the military. Now, if you are a general now and you are not satisfied with the way things go, you will just say, let me retire and take my benefits.
Yeah, that's the point. That's it.
You understand? If you are not satisfied with the way things going, you will calculate and say, why do I risk myself? Let me retire with this bumper large disease and go and rest with enjoy myself with my family.
Yeah, that's it.
So
That's the
you
point.
see the thinking and the calculation behind this type of things.
That's another way of telling them to retire because the more they retire, the more the fear reduces. The reason for the fear diminishes. That's just reality. Anyway, thank you so very much, Barrister. Honestly, you have enlightened us. You've given us the information that we actually need.